Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for my and our live reaction and player ratings live stream following Chelsea 0, Liverpool 1 after 120 minutes in the Carabao Cup Final. Another cup final loss. Our sixth consecutive domestic cup final loss. I'm honestly just heartbroken. That's honestly the main thing. We will be joined by Naishi in a few minutes' time. He's just on his way home. Unfortunately, Ollie had to pull out because he's feeling very unwell. So get well soon to Ollie. It's just going to be me and Naishi, and it's a tough one. Guys, please, in the chat, first of all, welcome. If you are watching, appreciate you tuning in. But I don't even know what to think. Like, I've seen a lot of people that have been really angry at the performance and a lot of the players and that Poch. And I mean, my general being is angry at Poch's existence, but otherwise, I don't even know if I agree with these people. If I'm being totally honest, like maybe I was just very pessimistic going into the game, but for me, we played much better than I thought we would. Compare this game to the game at Anfield where we got absolutely annihilated. We didn't get annihilated today. Maybe you can make an argument that we were unlucky today, but at the same time, we're bottle jobs. Set pieces. We got saved once by VAR. Saved once. And then we again leave Van Dijk alone. Van Dijk, of all people, you leave alone for set pieces. But the chances we missed, Sterling, Palmer, bloody Gallagher. Oh, my days. Enzo with that when he miscontrolled it and then somehow accidentally backheeled it. I mean, Caicedo could have even been sent off. At the same time, Sterling scored. Was Jackson actually offside? Was he not? Who knows? Who knows? The biggest disgrace about today is the lack of cameras at Wembley. That's a bit of a joke. But people in the chat, please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button and share your thoughts, especially until Naishi joins us. I will just try to speak to you guys. We didn't have a good start. No, Texas, we didn't have a good start at all. The first 15 minutes were poor. Liverpool had a couple of chances. Nothing huge, but still, Petrovic made a couple of decent saves. But then we found our feet. We had that huge triple chance where if Sterling just has a better first touch, he has a sitter, basically. To be fair, he recovers from his bad touch and still gives Palmer a great chance. The Palmer then fails to score. The Jackson, with a bit more luck, he scores. That's a triple chance. How is it not 1-0? I don't know. Caicedo could have easily been sent off. Do I think it's a red card? Maybe not, especially when you see what Maguire got away with yesterday. But I've seen people get sent off for it, so you can say we're a little bit lucky in that sense. Then obviously we scored our own goal. Not an own goal, but the goal that was given offside. Klopp won with kids. While that may be true, our entire squad is kids. Do you know what I mean? Like, the only player of a decent age and of a decent experience today was Raheem Sterling, and he's dreadful. Do you know what I mean? But means I need a therapist and I need a new club to support. Well, you don't know how supporting football works, if that's how you think. But anyway, my God, a corpse looks more lively than the state of this club. Go get Xabi Alonso. Good luck. I would love to, but good luck. This is the most embarrassing defeat we've had since the takeover. Is it? You guys are a bit more negative about this than I am, which is new, which is not the case very often, but I appreciate you tuning in, obviously. Greg says we can't even beat all these kids that came on from the bench. True. And we just made our team worse with every sub that we made. Pochettino did the same thing against City, sat back and bottled a win. Same with today. Why not go for it? I think we were just dead. The fact that he took Gallagher off told me we're dead. Because the sub taking Gallagher off for Madueke is the opposite of sitting back. But, and I texted this to my brother and to other people, the second we took Gallagher off, I knew we were going to lose any sort of control now. Not that we controlled the game at any point, but Gallagher helped us be in the game. He helped us win the ball back. He helped us counter-attack. He helped us with everything. Maybe he was just dead because he ran his socks off. But taking him off, to me, bad idea. Bad idea. Unless, obviously, he was just so tired that he had to, which I obviously don't know. Peter says, I'm with you, Laurenz. Am I crazy? We weren't bad in the game, right? Like, I'm not going to say we were good, but I don't think it was pathetic or embarrassing or anything like that, if I'm honest. I mean, Adam says, gave up at the end. Pathetic. Do you think so? What makes you think we gave up? I mean, Poch is a bottler. We know that. But I just feel like we ran out of energy. I just feel like that's the main issue. And the same thing as always, like, Jackson had a tough day against Van Dijk and Konate, and he was probably dead tired. But same as with City, as soon as we took him off, we were done. As soon as Jackson was off, we just didn't do anything anymore. And I say that, I know we still had the Gallagher chances and we had moments still, but I just feel like it wasn't working. What are you talking about, Laurenz? This was Liverpool sub 20. I mean, yeah, but how old are our players? Half of our players are 20. Do you know what I mean? I don't care about, like, no one gives us the excuse of injury. So why should I be giving them the excuse of injuries? Absolutely no chance. Absolutely no chance. But, you know, we still lost. It's not great. We are Chelsea. Win F playing well. Yeah. No, it's true. Absolutely. But I can only say it again. I expected us to get battered. I'm not sure about you guys, but I expected us to get battered. Am I missing anything important here? I mean, I'm just trying to catch up on tweets here. If I missed anything important, Enzo's a Jorginho from Wish. Nah, Enzo was good today. Playing well does not give trophies. No, absolutely it doesn't. Absolutely doesn't. No real game plan. Booted up to Jackson. That's it. Embarrassing to lose to an injury C team like we did today. Sorry, I'm still a bit ill, or I still am ill. Yeah, I mean, there was more to it than what you're just saying in parts of it. But there was parts of it, in particular the beginning of the game, that was exactly like this. JP says, no positives to take from this game at all. We were horrible. Liverpool deserved to win. We're crap. I mean, I haven't looked at the XG yet, but I honestly, I don't think we were much worse. Like, they had chances, we had chances. I would probably argue that we had ever so slightly the bigger chances. What does XG say? We won on XG, by the way. Not that that means anything, but we had an XG of 2.28. Liverpool had 1.78, and we had 46% possession. Liverpool at 54. It's not. I don't know if people were just, because we all wanted to win so badly and weren't really happy with what we saw. I'm not sure if that impacts people's perspective. I don't know. Of course, we won an XG. Yeah, you say that, but we can't have been destroyed. No. I'm not trying to say, oh, we won next season, that means we're good. I'm just trying to counter people saying, oh, we were absolutely awful and embarrassed and Liverpool clearly deserved to win. I just don't fully agree with that. That's all I'm trying to say. Not that XG means anything, but it gives you a hint of how the game went. Nunez, Salah, Jota, Trent, all out, and this is how we play. Nah, sack that guy. I mean, obviously sack that guy. I've been saying that for weeks and months. That has nothing to do with today. Nothing changes. That is clearly my opinion. But you got to remember as well who's out for us. Like, people like to forget about it. Like, even though Nkunku is now back and playing, but look at him. That's not Nkunku, is it? That's not Nkunku. What difference do you think fucking having Reece James makes? What difference do you think having midfielders to bring on makes? Now, obviously, Liverpool didn't either, but neither did we. Do you know what I mean? Did we win on field till 2? I hate this Polish club. Yeah, no, I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to use XG as an excuse by any means, but I just still don't think it was embarrassing. That's what I'm trying to say. The blue £1 billion bottle jobs, Neville, spot on. We are finished. Is it? I don't know. If we lost to a better team, I'd have excused my team. Not against that injury hit pool with kids. Okay. I accept that. Don't worry, we're winning the FA Cup. No, we're not. We are statistics merchants. We are horrible. Well, maybe. Just end the season now. It's another dead season. Of course it is. XG, Roman is turning on his yup. Now, Roma did enjoy XG. I can't even like extra time. Liverpool had more XG. Okay. That's clearly true. But what are you trying to tell me with that? That doesn't make the whole performance embarrassing. But yeah, I don't even want to sit here and defend it either. I just think some of you guys are going a little bit too extreme in one direction. Over 200 people watching now, by the way. Hit subscribe and like the video. That would really help me out a lot. But what can I say? Like I say, I hope Nashi joins me soon. Oh, I'm gutted, man. I'm gutted. Won on XG against under 17s. What a trophy. Hey, it ain't no fucking trophy. I don't understand why you're coming at me with the fucking XG stuff. I'm just saying. I'm just reading out the stats, boys. You sack Poch and the process starts over again. First of all, shout out you, Clutch. And I get this perspective. But if the process that we're on isn't that good, and a lot of us don't believe in the end goal under this manager, then starting the process kind of over again is the only solution, really. The thing that would be different now is that the squad would know each other, and that's, in my opinion, a big difference. But I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't even know what to say. Naishi is kind of here, but I can't see a camera yet. There he is. Naishi, thank you so much for joining me. I know you were kind of like, mate, not really feeling it after that, and I totally understand it. Ollie pulled out, so you thankfully still giving me your time. How do you feel? Like, a lot of the chat are furious and talking about embarrassing, shocking. I don't necessarily feel that it was embarrassing or shocking. Maybe I just expected less going into it because I thought we'd get battered, and that didn't happen. So my expectations were, if anything, beaten rather than disappointed. Obviously, we still lost, so I'm gutted. But in terms of, I don't know. How do you see it? Because I've seen people on both ends, and I just feel like the difference is kind of what you expected going into it.
Yeah, honestly, Laurenz, this has to be one of the most embarrassing days as a Chelsea fan. That was just absolutely shocking. I'm actually lost for words what I've just witnessed. It's one, Liverpool's team was absolutely depleted. I was so shocked when I seen the lineup. I was 100% convinced that we'd win this game. Without even chances, I was so convinced we're going to win this game. I said, okay, give it till even second half, we'll put our chances away. Even extra time, I was probably confident as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Chelsea never ceases to surprise us. Honestly, I'm literally lost all confidence in the project. I've lost all complete confidence in the whole squad. I'm not for one to get angry. I'm a pretty calm guy, but this one is really hard not to swear. Modric, when he came on, he was probably the one. I'm not one to single a person out, but Modric was an example of where Chelsea is at the moment. He came on, he didn't even look bothered. He had even Colwill cover for him, pressing for him. It's just, I'm so shocked. We were even given a lifeline with Van Dijk ruled out. Personally, I don't think that should have been ruled out. That was a clear goal. Loads of teams do what they Liverpool did today in terms of blocking off. How many goals have we seen that in the Premier League? And
it's a weird one, isn't it? Because I think obviously Endo was both offside and I guess was ruled to have fouled Colwill. But I guarantee you one thing: if he's not offside and does the same thing to Colwill, there is no way they ruled it out as a normal foul. So I'm partly with you, partly I'm like, when I look at it, I'm like, they're just going by the rules here. So, like, as much as I agree, like, if it was against us, I'd be fuming and I'd be feeling harshly done by. They're kind of just going by the rules. Like, if you're going by the rules, that is probably a goal to be disallowed. But then again, if you're going by the rules, could Caicedo have been sent off? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of those. But I think at least the one thing I'll say is at least the VAR was in such a way today that no one can really complain about it because they robbed them and us a little bit. So that's that. It's an interesting one. Would you say is it mostly the team that Liverpool put out and then also the subs that they brought on? That's kind of the main reason why you're so disappointed, or is it the actual performance on the pitch?
It's
a bit of both, I suppose. Obviously,
a bit of both. In fact, the chances we had on it, like Nkunku chance, especially for someone who cost us £60 million, and he just snatched at it. Literally, even the Conor Gallagher one where he kind of swept the shots. That was a difficult one. The Jackson Palmer one, especially.
Palmer has to score it. Honestly, bro, I'll even say this. Sterling has to score it, but Sterling messes up his first touch, so then he can't shoot. If he just has a good touch, it's a tap-in for him, really. But he messes his touch, to be fair, saves himself by laying it off well to Palmer. But like you say, but then you look at Liverpool's chance. Like Petrovic made some wonder saves, especially just before they scored, right? I was like, bloody build him a statue if we win this. What a save it was. And Gusto was unbelievable. Dizazi had his unbelievable tackles. Colwell had unbelievable tackles. Even Chilwell, I didn't think had a bad game today. Again, this is my problem. When I think of the individuals, sure, in terms of taking chances. But if I take the first 15 minutes out of it, where we couldn't keep the ball to save our lives, sure, you talk about extra time, but look at our record against Liverpool. Like, I know their team is bad, but this team hasn't won anything. We have a bottle job of a manager who's never experienced winning anything. Why is anyone expecting us to beat Klopp in his last season. That's the part that's maybe why I'm not as angry, because I don't expect anything of this manager and this team. Because how? They've not given me anything to go by over the last 18 months that gives me a reason to back them. And maybe that's why don't get me wrong, I am very disappointed. But I don't think they've embarrassed me any more than they did, for example, at Anfield. That was way worse to me. But I mean, what's your reaction when you hear me speak? It's like, oh, I don't think it was that bad. Like, do you think I'm mental, or do you see where I'm coming from?
No, I do get where you're coming from, but the start of each half was just so bad. Like that first minutes of the first half, that was embarrassing. I don't know. I love Gusto, but how many times did you have a misplaced touch? At least I count at least 3 or 4 times. It's just so disappointing. I was actually so convinced we're going to take this home, and we needed it now. This is now 6 finals in a row we've lost domestically. 6 finals.
That is the really bad part for me.
That's an absolute record, and I do get your point where we did have large parts where we dominated the game, but really and truly, Liverpool, half of the team was depleted. If Liverpool had even Mo Salah in that team, we wouldn't have even went to extra time. They would have, if I'm being honest, they would have won the game within the 90 minutes.
Yeah, no, obviously.
Yeah, so I think this is a real downer for the whole football club. The fan base, manager, owners, recruitment is just a big downer. And I don't know how we can come back from this. And this seems like going to be a bigger project than what I initially thought. I thought this might be a 2 to 3 year project. This looks like a very long project, and we're not going to see much of the fruits from it for another 10 years. If I'm looking at that game, just on that game, it's really shocking. I know, Laurenz, I'm a bit negative today, sorry, but yeah, it's just, this is really not good. Hello.
Sorry, I'm back. I'm back. I had to cut my Wi-Fi connection because I'm on cable. And for some reason, even though you plug your cable in, it prioritizes Wi-Fi first. Weird. Anyway, my apologies. Yeah, I see where you're coming from, right? But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's because the second we knew we were playing Liverpool in the final, I didn't expect us to win. Now, I get that because of all their injuries, we arguably should have won. But I think the players matter less than the mentality in the club. And for them going into it, they beat us in our last 2 recent cup finals against them. Yes, on penalties. And yes, they weren't really better than us in either of those games. But they just knew we're probably going to win it. And I just can't believe our managers couldn't have thought that. Yeah, I mean, we look at the teams, right? They're starting 11. Luis Diaz, okay, that's good. Gakpo, all right. I mean, they paid a lot of money for him, and I can't think he's that bad. Elliott, instead of Salah, is obviously a big difference. Midfield, McAllister, Endo, Gravenberch. Obviously, I'm missing Thiago there, but when is he not injured? Are they missing anybody else in midfield? I guess Curtis Jones, he would probably have played instead of Gravenberch. Bradley at right back. I mean, they think he's the greatest things in sliced bread, so I don't know why he's that bad all of a sudden, why he's that much of an excuse. Konate could have been sent off, but that's a different thing. And it's just Van Dijk, isn't it? It's just Van Dijk and this guy. I told people before the game, don't be thinking that just because Alisson are playing, we will now win this game and they will now have a bad goalie in goal. Remember the last Carabao Cup final. It wasn't going to go this way, and it isn't going to go this way again. Unfortunately, I was proved right. I've seen Liverpool fans say Kelleher is their most clutch player since bloody Origi. Do you know what I mean? Like, for some reason, Kelleher just fucking turns up. He's not even had a good season, as far as I'm aware. But, I mean, what do you make of our lineup? You see there, I'll obviously get the player ratings thing up later. We played with the exact same 11 to play at Man City. Did you support that decision? Would you have made any changes to the starting 11?
Yeah, I did support this decision. I really had no kind of qualms with the lineup. That's the only good thing he's done today, Pochettino, because that lineup I was quite happy with. maybe Gallagher for Nkunku, but when Nkunku came on, he didn't really show much. So
I did fuck all out of the Mississippi.
honestly, he's I know he's coming back from injury, but he's another one that I'm just not sure about now.
No, at the moment, not at all.
Exactly. Gallagher. I love Gallagher. After today, for those who are against Gallagher and who don't think he's good enough, look at that £220 million midfield with Enzo and Casado, and look what Gallagher did. He really put his heart out, left his heart out on the pitch, honestly. And with the chances he had, they weren't clear-cut chances, if you know what I mean. It wasn't.
I think the second one, he has to at least get it on target. You know, when Jackson lays it back off to him and then he hits it first time and puts it over and wide, I think he has to get that on target. I think the other ones, I agree with you.
Exactly.
Obviously, I'm not saying he has to score it because it's quite far out, but he has to get it on target. He can't put it over.
Yeah, I do. But you know, when somebody just gives the all on the pitch, you kind of can excuse them for that kind of miss. You know what I mean? He's the only person out of that whole lineup that can put their head up. But in terms of the lineup, I was happy personally. I'm not going to go back on my word and just because of the result. But with that lineup, I was happy. And
honestly, I agree. I don't even know what changes he could have made. You're saying Nkunku, but would I want Nkunku instead of Gallagher in a game like this? No. Like, I'd consider him maybe instead of Sterling or something, but not instead of Gallagher, for me anyway, right? But then if you take Gallagher off, then you're if you take Sterling off, you're taking the pace off. Now Sterling did nothing other than the offside goal, which he wasn't offside for. Was it offside or not? I'll bring up a tweet about it when we get to that discussion. But oh my days, it just stings, isn't it? Like it just hurts so much that we just keep on bottling it the way we do. Like
this one definitely. Sorry.
No, you go on, bro.
Yeah, it hurts, honestly, because it's just that whole mentality, Chelsea mentality, the Chelsea that we know when the days of the Drogba, Ballack, that's completely vanished. This is a whole new team that I completely don't recognize. They've got no hearts, no mentality. They're not playing for the badge. It was just starting afresh, really. This is definitely a new Chelsea. Even the fans, when we were still 0-0, the fans weren't involved. It's almost towards the end of that game, it almost felt like Anfield.
Mate, they never are. Let's be real.
Exactly. That's the thing that I think that's something that maybe Chelsea have always come accustomed to, where our fans are probably not as engaged as other football fans. But in a final, the fans should have really went behind the team. But it is what it is. But this one's really, I don't know how we can come back from this season. In the bin for me now. It's in the bin.
I mean, mate, watch us somehow get to the FA Cup final as well and somehow lose that too. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I'm not even looking forward to the FA Cup because, as you just said, they go to the final, they'll bottle that final. I'd prefer if they don't get into a finals where we don't lose.
Think about it. If only Mudryk doesn't score that equaliser against Newcastle.
Exactly, because I really hate losing finals. It's just that hope that kills you. It's that hope, and I thought this cup was gonna be a major uplift for the club. You remember when Jose Mourinho said that the first trophy that walks into the club, and that first trophy it just breaks the ice. It kind of allows for more trophies to come through. And was a crucial moment in Chelsea Football Club's history. And it's similar to Mikel Arteta, where he won the FA Cup against us, surprisingly. It would have bought Mauricio Pochettino some time, and the owners would have probably given him more time if he won this. But I don't even see him getting past the summer now since he's lost his final. So, yeah, it's hard times as a Chelsea fan.
It's very hard. I mean, we can look at some of the stats. You can see the momentum. Liverpool was certainly more on top than we were. But we had our moments. When you look at these stats, we had more XG. The possession, to be honest, I thought the possession would be more heavily in their favor than it seems to have been in the end. They had 24 shots in total. We had 19. We had 9 on target. They had 11, but we had 5 what football class as big chances. Liverpool only had 1 of them. excuse me, passing accuracy, quite similar. We committed less fouls. Maybe we should have committed a few more. Did nothing from any of our corners. What can you even say? What can you even say? When you look at these stats, do they surprise you at all?
Yeah, they do. They do surprise me, to be honest, because I did think Liverpool had more possession of the ball. If I'm being honest, I think towards the end of the second half. To be fair, we had a strong end to the second half, but that extra time, I don't really remember us putting 5 to 10 passes, a string of passes. We were just dominated. We sat back. We went to a 5 at the back. It's just honestly, there's some of the players that Liverpool brought on I've never even heard of. I don't know if you've heard of them. Like at least three.
But you know what I replied to Pies because he tweeted that as well. I'm like, a year ago, I hadn't heard of half of our players either. I didn't know who Madueke was before. I didn't know who Mudryk was before. I didn't know who Dizazi was before. I don't fucking know. Like, I'll be. I didn't know who Gusto was. Like a couple of months before we signed him. I'll be honest. Like obviously, it's a bit different to an 18-year-old from the Liverpool academy. But so, do I know the players? Where's Tice? He was at the game, so he's now traveling home, Mason. But yeah, I mean, Ollie obviously he had to pull out because he's not feeling so well. But he's joined us to put it's sorted at least. Owners at fault, get them all out. What's your reaction to a statement like this, Nation? Because I agree, obviously, but the problem is they are kind of contractually obliged to not sell before 2032. Now, contracts are there to be broken, and I'm sure there are loopholes in there. At the same time, they set up those contracts, but do they even want that clause? Do you know what I mean? But obviously, with right now, they've put a lot of money in, and they're certainly not selling for even the same money they bought us for. So they ain't going anywhere. The sporting directors ain't going anywhere. We're just hiring more people to work below them. It's just a mess. Now, I sit there and I watch this team, and if I scroll back up to the lineup, right, and yeah, we can talk about Liverpool, but for me, like, yeah, we can talk about Liverpool had a bad team on, but to me, as much as that is valid, we didn't lose to Liverpool today. We lost to ourselves. We lost to our lack of experience. We lost to our lack of cojones. We lost to our lack of a game-winning manager, in my opinion. I think it's much more to do with that than whoever the opponent was. I wouldn't, to be honest, I know you said earlier they would have destroyed us, but I wouldn't even be surprised even if Salah and Nunez played, if the game would have gone somewhat similarly. Do you know what I mean? That wouldn't even surprise me. I think it's just, we just, fall to our own incapability on a regular basis, that we just miss the easiest of chances, that we invite pressure by making the easiest of mistakes. You touch on it, Gusto, not touching the ball right, it goes out for a throw in for them high up the pitch. You see Dizazi randomly slipping, them having a huge chance. You see Coble trying to run with the ball and then he takes a bit too heavy of a touch, has to commit a foul. Like it's all of these things that are just so unnecessary that you just don't have. And that I'm not sure if, I mean, JP says he disagrees, but like I say, for me, it's more that we lost to ourselves rather than that we lost to Liverpool. And when I look at this team, though, and I'm like, I take Sterling out and maybe even Chilwell, and I look at everyone, okay, none of these are anywhere near their peak yet. None of them, not one of them. So in a theoretical world, they should all get better and they should all grow together. And if you compare it to, say, September, a large majority of these players have gotten better. Palmer is better, Gusto is better, Caicedo is. No, is he better than he was at Brighton? No. But is he better than he was at the beginning of the season? Yes. Dizazi has gotten better. Now, Coble is finally allowed to play in his actual position. But, I mean, Gallagher, the change from last season is immeasurable, right? But, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the headline that people want to focus on. And I guess it's fair enough in a way. I mean, I'm not surprised. The English media try to do everything in their power to make Liverpool the underdogs. There's so many injuries. Poor them. I don't know. Each to their own, I suppose. Let me bring up the lineup sheet, shall I? Because, Naishi, you and me both, we don't want to sit here forever today because it's just a bit miserable. So let's get into it with the goalkeeper. George Petrovic made a few very good saves from Luis Diaz early in the game. That he made that punching save where the save itself wasn't that outrageous, but the fact that he punched it so far away out of danger was very strong. That when he tipped the header over the bar, when he made that save close to the very end, even though just after they essentially scored, he was very, very good today. I don't know what you think. I mean, I do think he needs to improve his kicking. He kicked the ball out of play a few times. he tried to, I think, tried to play to Jackson and then played it like 30 meters away from where Jackson was, which is not ideal, obviously. But as a goalie goes, I think he did incredibly well today. I'm going to give him an 8. Do you think it's just way too high because we lost, or do you see? I mean, Kelby in the chat says 7. Nobody deserves anything above a 0. Ollie's not happy today. Nobody deserves anything above a 0. Fair enough, dude. Fair enough. Do you think I've gone too high for Petrovic? I mean, sure, I could say 7. What difference does it make? But he's one of the few that I can give a high rating for. So much. I'm trying to be positive. Okay.
Honestly, yeah. Just because of the way we lost, and we lost to kids, as that comment you just highlighted, I'm going to bring him down to a 6, or me personally, which will average out to a 7. Yeah. But yeah, he was very sound, and I do agree with you. His kicking was a bit array today, but other than that, he made some good quality saves. I didn't like too much that save where he punched it out. I feel like he could have caught that save. Personally, that was a risky thing. He could have parried.
The one he punched, you mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I might be being too harsh, but I think he could have caught that. Whilst
maybe
it's a risk.
He seemed to stretch quite a lot with his one arm, so I'm not sure if he would have got to it with 2 arms. But at the end of the day, even if he doesn't catch it, he punched it so far that I think it's still good enough of a clearance, if that makes sense. Oh, I don't know what happened, but I can't see Nashi anymore. I'm not sure if he can hear me or not, but we'll move on slowly from here. I'm sure Nashi will be back in a second. Oh, you're back.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. Yeah,
okay.
I do, in thinking of and really reflecting on it, yeah, I do get your point. You don't want to be doing that in a final. You don't want to be stretching and trying to catch up.
What if he spills it? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, I'm just trying to look for negative points, if I'm being honest. But really, he had a sound game, and he was not to blame on anything what happened today. So, I'll give him a 6.
Fair dues. I'll be honest, guys. Maybe it was more at the beginning of the game, but I thought it was more of a 4-3-3 than it was a 4-2-3-1. But now looking at the average positions, it really wasn't. So I'm going to put it back up as a 4-2-3-1. Fair enough. You give Petrovic a 6. I personally think a 6 is a bit harsh. I think he made 2 or 3 very good saves today and couldn't do anything about the goal. So I think an average rating is maybe a bit harsh. But maybe my 8 was a bit over the top as well. So evens itself out quite nicely with a 7. Let's go to Axel Disasi. What a performance he had in the last game against Man City. Wasn't quite of the same standard today, but what did you make of him? Obviously, he had that slip, but he also there was a couple of interceptions where he did really, really well, passes into the box, and he intercepted them well. Passing accuracy could have been better, but obviously Liverpool pressed us very high in terms of defensive stats. He had 7 clearances, 10 recoveries, 3 interceptions. Apparently, he was in very few duels. He only won 1 out of 1 ground duel. I mean, he won all of his duels, but still, aerial duels 1 out of 3 could be better. I mean, JP says missed that sitter at the back post. I personally think it's a bit harsh to call it a sitter, to be honest. It comes at him a bit too high. What's he supposed to do? He can't really get his foot high enough, and it's too low to all of a sudden try a header. So, I mean, again, everyone will take things differently. I understand that. But to me, it's a bit harsh to say he missed the sitter for that. But I don't know how you'd see it. Nashi, why don't you give me your rating first, mate?
I'd give him a 5. It wasn't great, especially on the back of Man City's performance. It was a sitter, but I get why he missed it. It was almost like behind him, and he just maybe, I don't know, he just kind of panicked, and he's not a natural goal scorer.
Yeah, but what do you think he could have done though? Like by the time the ball is heading towards him, what can he do? Like because it's kind of at hip height. Like what can he really do?
If I think a natural striker, a natural finisher would instinctively kind of stop, let it hit him, and then strike the ball. If you know what I mean?
Valid. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
see, I thought you were going to say a proper striker would just almost lean back to fall over so you can like volley it. But maybe that would just be Haaland and everybody else will take a touch.
Yeah, honestly, I think someone who's natural, like a Lewandowski or a Benzema, they'll almost let that ball kind of cushion either on the hip or whatever, and then strike it. If you know what I mean, that's unnatural. But I feel it's a bit harsh on Disasi. It was a difficult opportunity, and I was just I was just more frustrated with the slip is not entirely his fault, but he was just a bit shaky. He was back to the Disasi we've seen.
Yeah.
He's shaky on the ball and just positionally he wasn't there. It's just frustrating. We needed the Disasi for Man City. If we had the Disasi for Man City, we would have had a even bigger chance of winning this game.
Yeah.
But I would go along with a 5, and I don't think if in the grand scheme of things that's not too harsh of us.
No. See, I see a 5, but I'm going to go 6. Maybe people will think that's too high. Overall, obviously, it leaves us at a 5.5. I say 6 because I think he had moments where he was really good, and he had moments where he should have done a bit better. Mason here says, I'm not rating him a 4 because he missed the chance. I'm rating him 4 because he gave away the chances. JC says he could have done better at Van Dijk's goal, or with Van Dijk for the goal as well. And yeah, he probably could have done. Absolutely. I mean, our set piece defending was a mess all night long. It really was. Obviously, we got away with it on the first one when Van Dijk initially scored, and I was like, why on earth is Chilwell with Van Dijk anyway? Now, obviously, kind of Colwell should have been without being blocked off by Endo, I guess. So maybe you let him off a bit more for this one, and for the actual goal, Disasi was supposed to be with him, but he wasn't, and it was Mudryk. And you're like, but the big problem isn't really who's with him or who's winning or not winning the header. The problem is, why on earth is Van Dijk getting the space to get a 10-yard run-up? Like, that's the bit you have to stop. Like, Van Dijk is massive. Van Dijk is clearly good in the air. Like, if you give him that much of a run-up, obviously he's going to leap higher than any of our players. And if he gets a good connection, he's going to score it. So the thing we need to do is stop him from getting a flip and run up on, like, what was Mudryk going to win a fucking header against Van Dijk with a 10-yard run up? How's that going to happen? But yeah, to focus back on his eyes, like I say, he had some moments where he should have done better. I think he also had some moments where he did good. So yeah, that's why I'm going to say 6. We move on to Levi Colwill then. Do you think Colwill was worse than Disasi? No. Do you think he was better than Disasi? Passing accuracy is a bit better. I mean, long balls is 1 out of 6, but obviously it's Jackson against Konate and Van Dijk. Is that down to the long ball or down to what's happening further up the pitch? Aerial duels, 2 out of 3. That's better than Disasi, I guess. But ground duels is only 1 out of 3. I'm just less negative than a lot of other people are today, which is a change of things, because usually I'm more negative than pretty much everybody. So, that's different. But are you going to go with the same 5? Are you going to go with a little bit less? Do you think Colwill was better than Disasi? What do you reckon, mate?
I definitely think Colwill was better than Disasi. And this is the highest rating, just letting you know. I think I'm going to go along with the 6. I do think Colwill he made crucial tackles in the box, especially, I think, towards the end of the extra time, a crucial block. He followed the man coming in. I don't know the young player's name. As I said, you don't know the stream. I don't know half of the players that were playing for Liverpool. Mate, but I think he done quite well. I think, along with Gallagher, he was quite sound, and this game wasn't really on him. He done well. The last ditch tackles, especially there's one time he did kind of try and dribble out, and then he gave away a foul. That's the only mistake I kind of.
Yeah, that was really early in the game as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I was really didn't come to anything. So yeah, I think he had a sound game, and the more I go into the stream, I've got more of a calmer head.
Yeah. Hey, that's why we call it a therapy session, bro. It always goes like that. That's always how it goes. I realized, my apologies, L9. I missed a super chat earlier. I'm very sorry. He says, flip the squad, take the financial fair play ban. It's done. Thoughts, Nashi?
I agree. Honestly, just scrap this whole squad and take the ban. Take any ban.
Mate, you know how long we're going to get fucking banned for?
I don't care. Just give us a 3-year European ban. We're not going to be.
Oh, it won't be a European ban. We're a fucking transfer ban. Well, it would be both, probably. Because that's the problem, right? Do I think that the squad, like, if you look at the lineup, right? Do I think this Colwill is good? Yes. Do I think Gusto is good? Yes. Do I even think Disasi is pretty good, at least? Yes. Enzo Caicedo, they're both top players. They will be. They should be top players. With a better manager, I think they already would be better players. Sterling, has, in my opinion, motivation problems. But there's, I ignore Sterling. I don't even want him here. But we just have a manager who was supposed to come in and make our young players better. And most of the time, he's kind of just, other than the defensive ones, he's kind of just ruining them. Like, Mudryk plays decent, all of a sudden stops playing him. Whenever he plays decent, he drops him. And then he brings him off the bench. And we've seen all season he's not good off the bench. Now, again, we're not trying to excuse him in anything today. But do I think he was any worse than Sterling? No. Worked harder. That's all I say. Obviously, played less. I get that. But I didn't see Sterling, if I can track him back, blocking crosses for corners. Didn't see him doing that. So at least Mudryk doing that part. But obviously, if you don't do anything on the other side, it doesn't really help anyone either. Right? You look at Cole Palmer. I'm like, the team isn't bad. But I think much more than the squad, I think the management and the recruitment and the sporting directors are a much bigger issue, because if you have these young players added with a few experienced players sprinkled in there, with a few players that are between 28 and 32 that are not Raheem Sterling and actually have a good attitude, I think the squad can be a good squad. But because we've made them all about 15, well, this is what you see today. And I also think the first 50 minutes of the game, you just saw that the occasion got to them a little bit, because then we didn't go down a goal early. We kind of found our feet a little bit, but we could have easily conceded early in the game and gotten absolutely destroyed. Like, that could have easily happened, because at the beginning of the game, we were not up for it. Or maybe we were up for it, but we just got, what's the word? I think it was just overwhelmed by the occasion. I'll be honest. That's how I see it anyway. We move on, mate. Let's go to Ben Chilwell first. What do you make of him?
He had a decent game, except for that stupid moment where he gave away a yellow card. Like, why are you fighting against a young player? Like, you're meant to be the captain. What are you doing? And that brings his score down, because, in all honesty, I thought he had a decent game. I can't really think any mistakes he did. So
I think defensively he was actually really good, but offensively he really wasn't. Like, he just gave the ball away way too many times.
Exactly, yeah, and for that, I'll probably give him a 5. He wasn't awful, he wasn't the best, and that moment where he was fighting the player, that frustrated me. So I'll go with a 5 for Chilwell.
You know what? I think I probably agree with that, purely because he didn't do more going forward. Like, 69% passing accuracy. I'm sorry, but that's just not good enough. You cannot have 69% passing accuracy. You only completed 29 out of 42 passes. Now the crosses, 1 out of 5. I'm not going to be too mad at that. The accurate long balls, 2 out of 8. I'm not even too mad at that either. Defensive stats are good. 6 out of 8 ground duels, 2 out of 4 aerial duels. Was fouled 3 times, only committed 1 foul himself, 4 clearances, 5 recoveries. It's not bad. Like, defensively he was good, but he just gave the ball away too much. And you're the captain. And in my opinion, they do this purposely, that they target his side to press more, because you can see it. Gusto and Palmer, and they just play themselves out of pressure way better than Chilwell and Sterling do every time. Because one, Sterling doesn't drop as deep to help Chilwell as much as Palmer does with Gusto. Chilwell kind of has to more do it with Enzo, but if they block that pass, Chilwell never knows what to do. So, yeah, overall, I probably agree with the 5. Now, when we get to Malo Gusto, I feel a disagreement coming, because I think Gusto had a good game again. I honestly feel Gusto, aside from maybe Gallagher, but Gallagher missed so many chances. Even if they're not all huge chances, he still missed big chances. So I think Gusto was our best player. I'll be honest, mate, because he had some sloppy touches, sure, but he created most of our attacks. He stopped most of their attacks. He was in 16 ground duels today, and he won 10 of them. Like, sure, could be a little bit better, but that's still really good. He had won 5 out of 6 tackles. Like, I don't know. He went on 6 dribbles, completed 3 of them. I don't know when I get to Sterling or any of the other lot, if any of them will have got any of those numbers. I mean, Petrovic, I always take the goalie out of my judgment. I'll give him a 7. Obviously, you want to go lower, that's absolutely fine, and we'll finish at a happy medium between us. But I thought Gusto was good. Maybe I was even going to give him a little bit higher, but maybe that would be overdoing it then.
Yeah, to be fair, Gusto was good, to be honest. When I went, the points kind of mentioned, he was in a lot of duels, and Diaz was kept testing him. I don't know how many times he was dribbling at him. And fair play to Gusto. He has silly moments in every game, like those touches. Like, I really think highly of Gusto. and he done it at least 4 times, and that really broke the momentum of the game. And I wish if he could just get those touches and a bit more cleaner, it would have really impacted on the game. And it's disappointing that he had those moments, because I agree with you. He had a very good game. He's defensively up there, and he's going forward. He did offer that option on the right flank, which Palmer didn't use as much as I would have liked him to. So I'll go along with a 6. So yeah, that probably brings
That's all
us.
right. Overall, this is a 6.5. I don't think that's too far off. And that's that. I see so many people constantly saying we got beat by kids. And you're right. And yes, maybe they are even more kids than we were. But I think people just forget we are kids. Like our whole squad, other than Thiago Silva and Raheem Sterling, are kids. Sure, Ben Chilwell. But Ben Chilwell is between the age of 22 and 25, has spent 2.5 of those years injured. So, in terms of football experience, he's still basically 23. All of our players are kids, guys. Like, I understand Liverpool had a lot of their big players out today. I get that. But also playing like, who was it here? Ukrud. Sorry if I butchered your name. He said, they play kids up front, not a lot of defending to do. Yeah, but no, you're just like, they signed Gakpo as a good player. Just because he's not their main player, that's no different to us. We were supposed to have a Nkunku, but because he's been injured all season, we can't start him. Like, it's no different, right? And Diaz is a good player. Like when Diaz was out injured, they were constantly crying, "Oh, but we have Diaz missing. Poor us." Like that's why also Diaz had so many things, doing so many things, like taking Gusto on, taking everybody on, because obviously on the other side they had Elliott, who isn't even a winger, right? But especially for Gusto, people forget he's 20. He's the same age as Alfie Gilchrist. Don't forget that, please. Anyway, move on to Caicedo, shall we? First of all, what do you think about the situation where he could have been sent off?
I don't think that tackle on its own was a red card, but the combination of like fouls could have led to a red card. Caicedo, he's tackling. He needs to work on it. I don't know. Maybe he's just overrunning that midfield, and then that's down to the coach. But in another game, he would have definitely got a red card over a combination of fouls, not just that one foul he did to that. I forgot his name, the Liverpool midfielder who came off.
Gravenberch, yeah.
Yeah, Gravenberch. That tackle on his own is a yellow card, a strong yellow card.
Yeah.
But
because I'm not sure if you were aware, but the ref didn't give a foul or yellow. Let alone red, right? He didn't even give a free kick, which is a bit mental. But because that's obviously my problem, because you're saying he could have been sent off for the accumulation of fouls, but because you obviously didn't even get a foul called against him for that situation, you can't really say he could have been sent off, because obviously in the ref's mind, he didn't do anything wrong, right? Because you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And on speaking on the ref was actually on our side. I really feel like the officials were really rooting for us to win.
Any specific decisions or more the overall decisions that were taken?
Overall decisions, literally the certain moments where I think Enzo and a number of fouls we actually gave away, which I felt they were yellow. Even Gallagher could have had a yellow where he fouled McAllister on the left side. So I really feel like the referee was on our side. With the offside goal, I think it is offside. His knees kind of and his shoulders leaning offside, and I wish Palmer just put that in slightly earlier. But Liverpool do play a very high line, and the gamble paid off. Unlike the Lukaku one, I do actually think that one was offside. It's just that the angle was that the stadium gave us wasn't the greatest, and made it look more onside than it actually was. But yeah, just on Caicedo, if we're focusing on Caicedo on his rating, he didn't have a great game for me, and this is where I'm going to be maybe a bit harsh. I think he's a 4 for me. His tackles just all over the place. But I don't think that's solely on him. That's on the manager. The manager doesn't know how to use him. Yeah, I think Laurenz timed that. But yeah, the manager doesn't know how to use him. He's almost left alone in that midfield. Enzo ventures off and leaves him alone in there, and pretty difficult for Caicedo to deal with that on his own. And looking for the future, Caicedo just definitely needs to work on his tackling. He needs to work on maybe also dealing with the situation in the game, calming it down a bit, and it's definitely something that needs to be worked on. But he's someone that was regarded as one of the best midfielders coming into Chelsea, so it's definitely not ideal that he's not playing very well at the moment. Just going to carry on, guys. Laurenz, I believe, is having some issues. Yeah, and Caicedo should definitely. I don't know what the chat feels, but I think he's left alone in that midfield, and Pochettino doesn't help him at all. And Enzo should kind of drop deep alongside Caicedo, which should help him. But I do really think Caicedo and Enzo partnership would have worked, but it doesn't seem like it is, and it's really difficult to watch at the moment, and I'm pretty surprised it's not working, and it's really difficult right now that Caicedo is not performing at the standards that all Chelsea fans kind of expect of him, and he was really, as I touched on already, he was lucky to stay on the pitch, and yeah, it's hard times at the moment, guys, but just looking at the overall picture, we just gotta kind of hope that the players lift themselves up on the back of this, and we have to look forward, even though it's a bit difficult at the moment. But just be hopeful, and I'm kind of being a cheerleader at the moment because I'm not too sure where Laurenz has disappeared off to. Should be joining in very soon. Sorry, guys. Yeah, but just to carry on, maybe moving on to Enzo. I don't know what you guys think about Enzo. He had a very poor game, absolutely shocking game. I feel like he lost the ball a number of times, and he could have laid it off to Sterling, I believe. And he done that weird back heel, which was really shocking from him. And there's also a moment where he could have laid it off to Sterling on the right, on the left wing. I'm not too sure why he decided to just go through the middle, which is a bit embarrassing. And questions need to be asked about Enzo and his general play, really. And he it's really poor game from him, and I expected him a lot from him. So yeah, just bear with me, guys. I think Laurenz is trying to join back. 1 second, guys.
I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. For fuck's sake, my stupid Wi-Fi broke down. Oh, if you people had any idea what Wi-Fi troubles I've had in this new flat of mine, my days, I am fuming. Hopefully it works now. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Nate, for trying to keep it going. Yes.
I was doing my best. I was almost done the whole lineup whilst you were gone, but yeah.
Appreciate it, mate. What rating did you give Caicedo, bro?
I actually gave him a 4. Yeah, I gave him a 4. Yeah, I just kind of touched on the points where he just needs to work on his tackling. He's just in games, and I kind of touched on also that Pochettino doesn't help him at all with allowing Enzo to kind of push forward, and it really exposes him, and he literally shifts him from left to right. And yeah, but solely on this game, a 4 for me.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? It's another one where when you look at the stats, 11 out of 15 ground yours, that's good. 4 out of 7 tackles, decent. 5 out of 6 long balls. Passing accuracy of 94% when you compare it to all the other ones, like the centre backs had like 85. Chilwell had bloody 69. What did Gusto have? 81. For Caicedo to have 94 is actually pretty good going. Now, half of that obviously means, he kept it more simple. But, excuse me, at the same time, if that means not losing the ball, not giving the ball away, I'm probably a fan of that. I don't know. It's a tough one for me. I'll probably give him a 5, but I understand also a 4. If we get to Enzo, I've seen someone say I need to bring up comments from Poch. Well, what comments have I missed? Have you seen it already? What people have said?
No, I haven't. I literally since the game finished, I haven't looked at the comments or anything. So I'm not too sure what they're referring.
Yeah, I'm gonna get them up now.
Yeah, but I'm tired of that guy. I know I said Poch out previously, but I'm officially Pochettino out. I want him gone. That bottle job. He's just bringing that Spurs mentality to Chelsea, which is awful.
He literally is. He seemingly said Pochettino says Chelsea played for penalties. The team felt maybe penalties would be good for us. Yeah, after your subs killed any forward momentum that we had, like every game that we play, mate. And then he says, I don't know how you can describe the situation, but for sure, I feel proud. They made a big effort. We're a young team and nothing to compare to Liverpool. I get why people are saying it's Spursy, but at the same time, think about the team and think about what benefit it would have if the manager now went in on the team. You're not going to get, he kind of needs to back the team a little bit after a game like this. If he doesn't want them to fall apart completely, he has to say this. I'm not sure how you see that, Nation, but imagine if he sits there now, and obviously he's not going to say, I fucked it up. Maybe he should do that, but he's not going to. But he can't stay there and just throw the players under the bus now, right? So, he has to, I don't know how you see that. I understand why people are angry at the comments, but at the same time, I'm like, I get it.
But he's a dead man walk. Regardless of what, I do get your point. He's not going to slate the players. The players are already young and dejected. It's not going to help at all. But nothing what Pochettino says is going to convince me he should stay at the football club. He's just.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, on this, we will never have an easier cup final. I don't think ever. If you've seen that lineup and the players that did come on, I can't ever envisage a situation like that again. So it's not great, is it? It's just not great.
No. See, this tweet from your expert, right? Shout out, Alex. He says that might be the closest we see Mauricio Pochettino get to a trophy in English football. Just didn't the FA Cup, but it depends on how far they get into it or how long their boss lasts. I agree. I think this might be the closest we'll ever see Pochettino get to a trophy in English football. There's still a chance that bloody what's their face, United, get him at someday. But otherwise, I don't really know. Someone said Gallagher's injured, I think. Is he? If he's injured, he walked off surprisingly fine, even if obviously he was a dead man walking by the end. Let's bring the lineup up again, and let's just get through this and finish it off. Enzo, mate, you kind of said you spoke about most of the lineup already. So what did you say about Enzo? Maybe just for me quickly.
Yeah, with Enzo, I was pretty harsh with him. I think he's one of the lowest ratings I'm going to give today. I think it was a 2 today. Honestly, I don't know if I'm being too harsh, but there's a number of situations where he could have laid it off for Sterling. He was literally in, and then he just backheeled it. Sometimes I feel like he likes to take the glory. Sometimes I feel like if you just laid it off to Sterling, that's a goal within the 90 minutes. And there was
or Palmer, whoever. But yeah,
whoever, he had at least 3 options to lay, and then he just backheeled it.
Do you think he backheeled it on purpose? Because when I saw the replay, I thought he messed up his first touch and then he couldn't get his feet right and accidentally backheeled it. Like I don't think he meant to do that. But let me emphasize, I'm not sure what's worse, if he meant that or if he messed up the touch so badly that it accidentally happened. But I'm kind of sure that he didn't mean to do this, because if you look, the back heel comes from his calf. It doesn't come from his boot or anything. So I think it was an accident, but you can't have that bad a touch in that moment. Like, why do you even? I mean, I guess he turned because he had the defender behind him, but how? Like that? Like you say, it has to be a goal. It absolutely has to be. You said 2. Again, I'll probably go a tad higher, but I don't want to overdo it. Do I want to say 4? I don't know. I think outside of that moment, I think he was actually not bad. Like that over the top ball to Jackson was really good. He played a nice through ball on the left as well. A couple of occasions. You look at the stats, they're not bad. I'll say 3. I'll say 3. Give him a 2.5 overall. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm like, in the good moments that we did have, I felt it was Enzo controlling the team. But I understand that may not be enough and people want more. But to me, that goes for Enzo, that goes for Caicedo. Now, there is their criticism on them as individuals for sure. But for me, we've played 8-9 months of the season now, and we still don't have a capable midfield structure. By the way, apologies if you kind hear a background noise. But yeah, we still don't have a function in midfield structure. So purely off of that, I'm not judging them as players, but yeah, it wasn't quite good enough today, was it? Conor Gallagher, for me, no, I don't know. People saying he's injured, but bloody hope not. Bloody hell, how much more screwed can we be? Although maybe that may be the only chance we'll see Nkunku start games regularly and actually find some form, because what he's doing at the moment is a bit of a joke. As for Gallagher, because of the missed chance, I can't go too high, but I still will refuse to give him lower than average. So I'm going to say 6.5, just to give him ever so slightly above average because of the misses. But yeah. But I disagree with this. I don't think we lost the midfield battle. I think we lost to their press. And our defenders couldn't beat their press. I don't think the midfielders were the problem. I think the defenders couldn't beat the press. And only on the right side we could. That's why Gusto was better than the left side. And Chilwell had a passing accuracy of 69%. But yeah. Neshi, what did you say for Gallagher? Have I gone way, way higher than you did?
No, I'll go along with you. 6.5. I really think Gallagher was the best player on the pitch. I know he missed those chances, but guys, the guy really was everywhere. He was trying his best. He even tried to square it to Palmer, but Palmer didn't kind of anticipate the ball, and that could have been another goal. With the chances, the one chance that I really think was on him was when Kelleher came out to him. He could have went around him, and just thinking about these chances makes it even worse that we lost this final. But yeah, Gallagher really put out a shift there, and he definitely plays for the badge. And we probably need more of these players that play for the badge, because we can clearly see that talent alone doesn't get you far. It doesn't win you trophies. So I just hope that he's not injured and he's okay for the upcoming games. But yeah, Gallagher, yeah, I really think he should get a new contract and stay at Chelsea, because he's one of those players that we can rely on him, even though his technical ability is not maybe the best out there, but he really plays for the team. And yeah, I'll go along with you with the 6.5. The mischances did bring him down, otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people are obviously very mad at me in particular. I see in particular. The one-on-one chance, I get that, but maybe I'll need to see it back. But I just found it crazy how soon Callagher was so close to him. I don't really know. Like, did he take too many touches before? And he felt just he was there so soon. But yeah, he obviously should have scored it. Absolutely. But I think, for example, I think Nkunku's miss is bigger. I think Palmer's miss is bigger. I think that we had a lot like worse misses than that one personally. But yeah, I'll say 6.5. But obviously, if he scored, well, let's say he doesn't have any of those chances, but plays all the rest the same, I'd probably give him a 7.5, maybe even an 8. Obviously, if he scores all of them, it's a whole different scenario. He probably gets a 10, right? But someone said, and I'm not saying, and I'm not even agreeing with it, but certainly I'm not trying to compare them. But someone said he's like Kante. He runs so much and knows where to run so well that he keeps getting the chances, but he can't fucking score to save his life. And at the moment, that is Gallagher a little bit. At the same time, don't forget that he literally saved our asses against Palace a couple of weeks ago. And without him, we would have been another loss further deep. So, that's all I'm trying to say. But anyway, move on. Still Raheem Sterling scored the offside goal. And for that, I want to bring up a couple of screenshots now. The first one is this one. What do we think about this one then? That's the original angle that they showed us on TV and that I think they used to determine whether he was offside. On this picture, he still absolutely does not look offside, does he?
No, he doesn't, to be honest. Yeah, but these images, they can elude you sometimes because
the angle.
Yeah, the angle. Sorry, yeah. It kind of is almost like an illusion. I do think that he's slightly ahead. If I'm being completely honest, if you look at his knee,
there is this angle. Obviously, now this still frame is from after the ball left Palmer's foot, so you'd have to go like 1 or 2 frames back. And then there is a chance it's ever so slightly even, but it's probably just about onside. But the problem for me is Wembley is an embarrassment. Like, how can this be the cathedral of English football? And they don't have enough cameras to make offside decisions correctly. The second time in the space of 2 years, they've given a questionable offside decision. Now, the last one, I'm pretty sure was wrong, the Lukaku one. This one may be right. But no one can tell me that from the angles they had, they can say that for sure. Like, they just cannot say that for sure.
I know, and this is what I hate about VAR. If you're not sure, give the goal. How, like, in that
there needs to be some sort of room of lenience for offside. Like, I understand offside is a right or wrong kind of decision, but the whole, even you can't even on a camera, you can't even hit the perfect moment a player passes the ball because there is multiple frames that you can stop the picture on. But like, when exactly does the ball leave the foot? Like, do you know what I mean? But and they're going by the arm of Jackson, they're going by the knee of Konate. Why not the shoulder? The shoulder looks further ahead to me. But yeah, it was probably ever so slightly off. The thing is, because the lino gave offside anyway, you can't even say, if VAR, because of the cameras, can't be sure, they shouldn't overrule it. Well, they didn't because the lino gave offside. So I guess you can't complain too much from that perspective. But it obviously was a shame. Let's just put it that way. If we go back to the lineup, Sterling was the one at the end of it. And that was literally the only thing he did all game. I mean, he had 10 passes, a total of 19 touches in 67 minutes that he played. 3 attempted dribbles, 0 of them successful. 0 out of 6 ground duels won, mate. Sterling getting a 0. I've only seen these stats, quite puts into perspective quite how bad it was. Just didn't do anything. Like, you see Palmer trying, you saw Gallagher trying, you even saw Enzo trying and Jackson trying. Sterling just didn't do anything. And honestly, I'm not surprised. He turns up against City, and that's the only 2 games he's going to try for all season. Like, clearly, because of all the other games, he's never fucking bothered, is he?
Yeah, he had an awful game as well. Like, for someone who's so experienced, that these young players need a Sterling to kind of push the team. This is his game to kind of show himself. Like, it's almost like he's won so many trophies. He doesn't even care about this Carabao Cup. I'm really disappointed in Sterling. I'll go along with a 0 as well, just because it's just that he didn't really show anything. Even when he was coming off, he didn't really care that he came off. Someone who wants to play in the final, throw his arms, like, why are you taking me off? Someone who's experienced like that, he didn't even care that he was coming off.
No, he didn't. Absolutely, he didn't care. And it's just...
Yeah, I'll go with this. There's nothing more to say.
No. And yes, I'm aware that compared to some of the other ratings, maybe a 0 is a tad harsh, but it's more about, again, three attempted dribbles, 0 successful, 0 out of 6 ground duels. Think about that. And he was playing against Bradley. Not Trent, not fucking Gusto, Reece James, Kyle Walker. No, he was playing against Bradley. And he won 0 out of 6 ground duels. Now, sure, some of them I'm sure were against Konate, but fucking deal with it, mate. Do you know what I mean? Fucking deal with it. Anyway, the less said about him, the better. Move on to Cole Palmer. In terms of attacking players, probably our best player. But in my opinion, also the one with the biggest miss. Maybe Nkunku's one. Them ones are kind of even in that sense. But yeah, I mean, he had an expected goals of 0.55 and expected assists of 0.27, which is not outrageous, but, you know, not bad. 2 out of 7 successful dribbles. Still not good, but at least he completed some. 1 out of 4 crosses, 2 out of 7 long balls. That should be a bit better. Ground duel, 6 out of 15. Not amazing, but for an attacking player of his frame, I don't mind it. 2 out of 2 aerial duels is okay as well. You've said something on Palmer already before. Did you say your rating too? What rating would you give him?
Yeah, I didn't actually give him a rating. If it serves me correct, I'd go with 4.5. For me, I love Palmer. He's my favorite, as I mentioned before. But I don't think he was great today. There's moments where he even tried to nutmeg a few players. Like, why are you trying to nutmeg players in a final? What are you doing? I don't know. Yeah. Laurenz, he did try and attempt to nutmeg a player.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. There's chances when Gusto was doing a great overlap and he just needs to lay him off and Gusto could have just done a square ball.
And did he instead pass it backwards or did he instead shoot? Which one was it? I can't remember.
He kind of didn't do it either. Kind of just went inside and then done a hit pass over to Chilwell.
Yeah, true. I remember that was a bad pass, and that didn't he kind of cross it into the hands of the keeper in the end?
Yeah, exactly that moment. There's loads of opportunities that he could have really and it with Palmer, I really expected a lot from him. I know we expected a lot from a 21-year-old, but I did expect more from him, and especially in the final. But yeah, 4.5. It's not the worst that I've given today, but I'll go 5. Too harsh.
I'll probably agree with Mason here in the chat. He said 5.5. I'll probably give him that. I could probably say 5, but then I'm gonna have to give you guys a poll, and you're just going to go for the negative one anyway. So I'm not playing with you lot. I'm just saying 5.5, so he gets a 5 overall. Keeping it simple. Nicholas Jackson didn't really have the chances today. Obviously, he had the third one in that triple chance early on. But at least he did get a shot off. He got a block. Someone got a block on it. So on second thought, knock it down to a 4 for me. So I've just went with your rating, mate. And now you've ruined the whole thing. No, I'm sticking to a 5.5. Sorry, but yeah. As for Jackson, he didn't really have the chances. He created the big one for Enzo, didn't he? Because he was played through by Enzo on the left. Went past Konate, played it inside to Gallagher, played it over to Enzo, and then obviously Enzo ruined it. Whether it was an intentional or accidental back heel, he certainly ruined it. But what I will say is, once Jackson was off, we were worse. I think that's kind of. I'm not even sure if that's debatable, if I'm being honest. The only thing that is debatable is whether he came off because he was tired or whether because Poch wanted to change it. If he came off because he was tired, I guess it is what it is. But at the same time, just keep going. There was one moment that really infuriated me when he was kind of like in a sprint duel with Konate, and then he kind of had the ball, and then he had the ball again, and then he kind of just stopped. I don't really know why. I swear, you were past him already. Either at least get yourself fouled. Just don't fucking lose the ball. But today, it's one of those days for me, and I will always defend strikers in situations like this. We played very deep. We did dominate possession. 95% of the balls that Jackson's got were over the top long balls, and he was up against Virgil van Dijk and Konate. How many of those is he going to miss? How many of those is any striker going to win? Realistically. It's not just we say, he was bad, he didn't do anything, blah, blah, blah. How many are you going to win against those two? No matter who you are. Even Ireland will struggle against those two. Passing, 12 out of 14. I'm not going to give him credit for passing, I guess. But 2 out of 4 dribbles. It's only a lot better than Sterling. 2 out of 2 tackles. 5 out of 12 ground duels. 1 out of 3 aerials. I don't know. See, because I feel it's a bit harsh to give him a Szoboszlai rating, because to me it was just the way we played. It was always going to be a tough night for him. I'm going to say 5, but I understand if someone wants to get him lower. I get it as well. What would you give Jackson? What did you make of him?
I'll give him 5. I'll give him a 5 as well. We were definitely a lot worse when he came off. I feel like the Liverpool defenders definitely had a lot more impetus when he came off. I really do think the defenders were kind of a bit unsure of themselves when Jackson was on the pitch.
Yeah.
And as you said, like, imagine coming up against Van Dijk and Konate. These guys are huge, pace, strong. You know what I mean? It's a good job for any striker. So I think, but it's almost like I didn't even see much of him though. At the same time, I do recall that moment where he went past Konate and he kind of stopped. I think he was fearful of going into a race with him. I think it didn't like rate himself to beat him.
No.
Which is why he seemed as like he's just stopped. But yeah, it was a difficult job, and Nkunku didn't help. It actually probably hindered the front line when he came on. So I'll go with the 5.
There you go. Fair enough. We'll move on to Nkunku. He was the only sub we made properly in normal time. Now, we did bring Mudryk on for Jackson just before the end of 90 minutes. We brought him on in the 90th minute, so just before injury time. But essentially, we only made one sub, and that's the reason why I'm not as extremely critical of Poch as I maybe was after the City game for the subs, because he made the subs very late, almost as if he, in a way, learned from the City game. It's like, well, if I make subs here, I'm just going to ruin it. But at the end, I kind of also hear it that, well, these players probably can't all play 120 minutes. You need to make some sort of subs. The problem is our bench is so poor that you can't really make any changes. And Nkunku is so not fit and so not ready that he's just like a completely useless player for us, really. Like, he doesn't do anything. He doesn't run with the ball. He doesn't open. He doesn't make particularly good runs. He doesn't create anything. He doesn't drop deep to create space. Doesn't really do anything, I'll be honest. Maybe I'm too harsh on him, but he just doesn't do anything. Considering the club tried to media brief him as our Lord and Savior all season long, well, that's kind of backfired, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm not even sure if we should give them ratings. I guess he played with injury extra time. He played easily long enough. Oh, I mean, let me bring up some stats. I'm sure they're not good. I mean, only misplaced one pass, so that's good. But he played a total of 53 minutes and he had 18 touches. That's fucking brilliant, that, isn't it? 5 of them were apparently in the opposition box. Didn't see that. But 0 out of 2 dribbles, 0 out of 2 crosses, 0 tackles, 0 out of 2 ground duels, 0 out of 2 aerial duels. Mate, you're getting a 0. What? Every stat is 0 other than fucking passes completed. What can I say? What can I say? Like, okay, I can give him the excuse of not being fit and everything, but you've come off the bench for like 5, 6, 7 games in a row now. At some point, you have to be a bit more fit. Do you know what I mean? Like, at some point, you have to. Maybe a 0 is a bit too harsh, but honestly, I don't even really care. Less about the rating itself. Obviously, give what you think is right. But what do you make of these sub appearances from Nkunku? Because honestly, every time he comes on, I feel like we get worse. But I feel like Poch feels obliged to bring him on because he's there, and it's kind of like a problem at the moment.
Yeah, he hasn't really offered much other than that moment against Wolves, where we were already losing, so it's not really going to just console goal, and I feel like he didn't bring much to the game either, and I'm just getting worried now. I know there's a fitness issue, but he's obviously training and he's been involved in a few matches here and there, and I get Pochettino is kind of wary to just start him, and he doesn't want him to like get injured and then have a long layoff. But that strike, I just can't. If you wanted the ball to land to anyone from 6 yards, I don't know if you see even 6 yards, 5 yards,
in the 6-yard box anyway.
Yeah, and he just put.
He kind of just rolled it. It's like he chipped it into the keeper's arms on purpose.
Honestly, that was something that I expect from like a defender or something. Yeah. No matter how match fitness you have, you should be putting that away.
Especially when you've seen like the goal he scored at Anfield, right? Like you see the composure, and then what is he doing? Just baffling. Just baffling.
But not to go on too long, I think I'll go with a 2.
Okay.
Just the 2.
Maybe you are more fair. At least gives him a 1.
Yeah.
On Mudryk, we're not going to rate the other 2, but on Mudryk, I mean, we can criticize him if you want to. Sure, there was this one where he probably should have just attempted to shoot. Instead, he, in the end, tried to cross. At least got a corner from it, I guess. But my issue is, again, you bring him on for Jackson, which is just meant to. Then you put Nkunku up front, which means you're making Nkunku even more useless. But also, Mudryk, I don't know if he just refuses to listen to instructions or if he's not being instructed that way, but we are clearly playing on the counter. And the only time I saw him run was when he was when they had a corner, I think, or something, and they played it back to the keeper. And he ran the length of the pitch to try and press the keeper. And fair play to him for doing that, I guess. But where are the runs when we have the ball? Just every time Enzo or fucking Colwill or Caicedo get the ball, every time that happens, you run. That's what he should be doing. It shouldn't be that difficult. Just every time they get the ball, run. If they don't play to you, it's fine. Turn around again. But you need to give them the option every time. And I've said this many times, and I'm not sure if you've been on any of these streams, Naishi, but to me, it just feels like, I don't know what happened at Shakhtar, but he's just so quick that his logic is now you pass it first and then I'll run after it. But no, because the pass is never going to come if you don't make the passer see that you're making the run. Like, they can't just play it for good luck, because then if you don't make the run, they're going to look like a dickhead. So you need to make a run first, and then an Enzo will find you. A Cole will find you. But he just never makes a run. I just don't get why he doesn't make a run. Like, he's the fastest player maybe in the world, and he just doesn't make a run. How stupid is that? Just like if you're the strongest person in the world and you've never gone bloody weightlifting. Like, imagine how stupid that is. Exactly. I just don't get it. Why don't you run, boy? Just run.
Yeah, honestly, mate, I know you got a soft spot on Mudryk, but honestly, I've lost patience with this guy. And I can't use Pochettino as an excuse, because this guy he's missing in games. I'd give him the goals emoji, me personally. I know it might be harsh on singling out a young player, but the guy is he's almost strolling on the pitch. The only time he does put a bit of effort, it's almost like when we're defending. It's almost he's like he gets more energy and more impetus when we're defending rather than attacking.
It's like Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi all over again, isn't it? It just feels like, I don't know, he's scared when he has the ball to lose it, to ruin something. He's scared when he's off the ball, but the team has the ball, to run out of position. The Poch isn't happy with it. But then, like you said, defensively, he will block a cross, he will run. But the worst thing about Mudryk all day, in my opinion, was his fucking beard. Mate, stop growing a beard. Then you just look old and even more of a flop. At least shave so you look young still. Like, what are you doing? Looking like a fucking 50-year-old Ukrainian. But stop this. Shave the beard off and pretend like you're 15 again, because you're 23. It's like you've played the same amount of games as fucking Bradley for Liverpool. So, like,
the loan, I do actually think he needs a loan.
But though, it's not going to happen, is it? Like, they're not going to loan a player they bought for £62 million. It's never going to happen.
That is true. I don't know what to do with him, honestly. I don't think it's on Pochettino. It's all on Pochettino with Mudryk. I really don't, because no, Pochettino would have been telling him to just stay in central. Like, I think he wants him to make those runs, and he's just not doing it. That's my opinion. And if we're giving him a rating, I'll give him a 0.
I'm not, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd give him a 0 if I was.
Yeah, I don't even know what I would give him. He attempted 3 passes, succeeded with 2 of them. He attempted 2 crosses, succeeded with none of them. He had 1 successful tackle, and he had 2 successful ground duels. So that's already 2 more than Nkunku. Also 2 more than Sterling. So, that's something. But yeah, and obviously, Madueke for Gallagher. I guess we didn't have anyone else on the bench, but that fucking sub isn't going to happen in helping extra time, is it? So unless Gallagher was genuinely injured, mental sub to me. And also Chalobah for Chilwell. I mean, Chilwell is probably not fit enough for 120, but he played 115. So what's 5 minutes more? Unless he said, I'm feeling my hamstring now or something. If he said that, fair enough. And obviously we don't know that. But also he's the captain. So, like, even if we were going into penalties and didn't bottle it 2 minutes before the end, surely you'd want the captain there. Chilwell is a good striker off the ball, so you'd want him to take a penalty as well. So it's another sub I don't really understand. Chalobah plays his first game of the season at City, unfortunately blocks their winner into the goal, deflects their winner into the goal. And now, obviously, Chalobah had nothing to do with their goal, but certainly we didn't look better defensively, did we? It felt like all of a sudden Kobe was not in the middle anymore. Everyone's, I don't know, man. It's just, I wish we had Ian Martin. Although I'd understand in 115th minute not to bring on an attacking left back. So maybe that wouldn't have happened regardless. But yeah, just not ideal. Let's finish it off, bro, with a rating for Pochettino. I don't know, man. I don't know. Because obviously I can sit there and say, oh, we should have had better tactics. But at the same time, we played a bit differently to what we did at Anfield, and we didn't get destroyed the way we did. We started badly, but we got into the game. What is poor, and you touched on it earlier, bro, the start to both halves was really poor. And that's a bad sign for the manager. If instantly after you talk to a manager, you're really bad, and then the longer ago you've spoken to your manager, the better you get, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign for me. And every time you make, and it's every game these days. At the beginning of the season, we were always shocking at the beginning and got better second half. And recently, the last couple of months, we're okay, maybe first half or whatever. And then the more subs he makes, the worse we get. And it's like almost every game now. Sure, part of that is the subs and the injuries that we don't have better players to bring off the bench. But he has Nkunku there and he just doesn't know how to use him. Like, he just has no idea how to bring him on to make him good. Now, sure, maybe he's just not working at the moment, but then don't bring him on for the sake of it. If you don't have ways to actually make him useful, don't bring him on. Okay, fitness, again, is an issue for everybody, but I don't know, man. I don't know what to give Poch today. Because, I mean, again, people want to ridicule me. We had more XG than Liverpool, so you can't say like we got completely destroyed and had no chance. It's not Poch's fault that Palmer misses that chance, that Gallagher misses his chance, that Nkunku misses his chance. That's not Poch's fault. And Liverpool had chances, but until they headed at the post, nothing big. Like, and we could have easily been 1 or 2 up by then. But he ruined it again with the subs. And I don't know. Help me out, Nation. What would you give Poch?
I'll definitely give him a 0. I know I'm being harsh. I don't like the guy. I don't like the man. He's a ball job. And like you said, the substitutions made the game worse. He doesn't know how to manage the game. Like, he went 5 at the back in the extra time. He's useless, mate.
No, he didn't. He just put Cole at left back, I think.
Oh, okay. I felt like when I think Chalobah came on, I felt...
but he came on for Chilwell, innit?
Yeah, exactly. He felt like 5 at the back, but yeah, maybe.
Who would have been... I mean, I guess maybe Mudryk was the left wing back then. Maybe fair enough. But
yeah, like Mudryk, I don't know if he was 5 at the back or Mudryk just strolling around like he always does.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he did that. Maybe he played Cole out. Honestly, I didn't pay attention to positions in those last few minutes. I was just like a bit terrified. And then my phone told me that we conceded before I saw it on TV and I was fuming.
Yeah, so Pochettino, mate, there's nothing about him. And every time he makes substitutions, well, most of the time, he makes the game a lot worse and gives kind of momentum to the other team. So a 0 for him. I think he should get sacked today as well. Hopefully. I do agree. You know what? I wasn't going to give him a 0, but might as well. Fuck Poch. The problem that we have is, mate, that we spent 2.5 months or something last season figuring out which manager to get and ended up going for Poch. And now, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, and Barcelona, maybe Man United, depending on how the rest of their season goes, will all be looking for a new manager in the summer. So not only are there less managers available now, that will potentially come to us because Klopp obviously isn't going, Tuchel isn't coming back. So yes, there's 2 free managers, but they're not coming back. Or they're not coming to us. So you've wasted a year to put yourself in a worse position. Less good managers on the market, except Xabi Alonso, who we're not going to get. And also a lot more clubs to compete with for getting those managers. So I agree with you. Poch should get sacked, but what are you doing? Who are you getting now? If you were to replace him now, you're not getting anyone. So you'd have to do interim again. How's that going to go? And then you're going to try for the summer. You're going to fail to get Xabi Alonso. You're going to fail to get... I mean, you could get the Zerbi if you pay 30 million for him, but I'm still not 1,000% sold on it either. You could get Amorim, but that's a whole Andre Villas-Boas 2.0 written all over it, if you ask me.
And then what do you do? I'm not, by no means am I saying keep Poch, but I'm saying the situation has just gotten worse and worse and worse. And we said this a year ago, didn't we, bro? In terms of after Potter, this appointment had to be it. Yeah. And they fucked it again.
You know, I get what you mean, interim, and then there's nothing that's going to help. But we're not playing for anything now. We're not playing.
No, we're not.
So
just, I mean, you say that, right? Like, what, we're 3 points of Europe in the league. So there is something, but it's not like the players are going to care. It's not like especially with all these rumors, we might have to forfeit the European Cup anyway. Even if I don't think that's true, I think the Euros are going to be in the way of selling players in the summer. So none of it is ideal, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. I want him gone personally. So
yeah, no, I want him gone too. The only thing I'm trying to say is I don't know what happens. Like, what do we do after? Because I mean, these sport directors and owners, they've not exactly given me faith that if they sack Poch, that they're going to get someone better after. That's the problem, right? Like, I'm almost thinking, like, how much worse can they get it?
Bring Mourinho in. Honestly,
I'll say that. Absolutely. As interim, 1,000%. Long term, do I think Jose is a right manager for our squad? I'll be honest, not really. Obviously, he's learned some with Roma now because they've had a lot of young players because they had not a lot of money to spend. So they got some, like, they had Matic and they got Lukaku and everything, but they still had a lot of young players. But that also ran out, and you saw so many Roma fans complain about how poor their football is and how they park the bus all the time. I don't want that. But for an interim until the end of the season, mate, I'm all for it. But at the same time, I'm like, if you're going to bring Jose in as interim, this should have happened before this final, not fucking after it.
Yeah, but another thing is, Laurenz, Mourinho will bring back the mentality. He will bring back the mentality of the old Chelsea. And I know the football won't be great, and he's definitely not one for mentality. But we really need a Jose-like manager because this Chelsea I do not recognize, and we don't, like, as you touched, I don't have faith in Winstanley, the recruitment team. They just don't doing. Mourinho would, especially with a player like Modric, he'd definitely like sit him down and explain to him like
what he needs to
do. So Mourinho.
No, I agree with that. I would love it purely for the nostalgia. I mean, there's nothing else good, right? So at least if you give me Jose back, we have something to be happy about, right? Because if we get anybody else, that's like, except maybe Xabi Alonso, especially if he wins the league, but everybody else, De Serbi, Amorim, Arne Slot, whoever we're potentially gonna get, they're all such a big question mark that there's not even like until for the first few months until it either works or doesn't work. It's all uncertainty anyway. At least if we hire Jose, we're going to be buzzing to begin with. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly my point. We just need that mood lifting. The whole football club just needs some mood lifting.
But honestly, you've said it there. Like, he will tell the sporting directors and the owners and everything. But that's why they won't hire him, because he would tell them that they're idiots and they don't want to hear that they're idiots, right? So that's the problem in and of itself. Naishi, I think it's about time we wrap this one up. Ladies and gentlemen, I do have to apologize about my internet cutting out completely earlier. And also, it's taking so long to fucking fix it again. I was fuming, man. But thank you, Naishi, for trying to keep it up. I appreciate you, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, please check out Naishi's Twitter. The link is down in the description below. Subscribe if you haven't done that just yet. Hit the like button on your way out. Would be massively appreciated. And on that note, it's as always, upwards and upwards. And we'll see you next time.